Hi, friends. I want to tell you about my newest book, Whose Permission Are You Waiting For? An Educator's Guide to Doing What You Love. Whenever I find myself answering the same questions over and over again, it usually means it's time to write down those responses as a resource. And this new book is born from conversations with high-achieving educators just like you. Just like you and me, we all run into hard decisions, career choices, navigating complex situations. Where do we turn to determine whether or not we're moving in the right direction? Whose Permission Are You Waiting For? An Educator's Guide to Doing What You Love is a 20-chapter book guiding you through the stories, insights, research, reflections, and applications for your way forward. Pick up your copy today for coaching on your leadership road ahead. You can find Whose Permission Are You Waiting For? An Educator's Guide to Doing What You Love at my website at williamdparker.com/books or wherever you purchase your books.
You're listening to ENCORE Friday, a Principal Matters podcast production.
Principal Matters Podcast, episode 253. Hi, friends. This is Will Parker, host of Principal Matters, the School Leaders Podcast, where each week we bring you inspiring, innovative, and imaginative ideas for your own school leadership. This week, we're talking to an old friend, DJ Klein, assistant principal at Terry High School near Jackson, Mississippi, who just has had some transitions in his school leadership because he'll now be the assistant principal of Ocean Springs High School, the second largest high school in Mississippi on the coast between Biloxi and Pascagoula. TJ Klein, welcome back to Principal Matters Podcast. It has been 1 year. I was looking back and it was Principal Matters Podcast 197, June 4th, 2020, when I released our first conversation, which was a conversation that we had on 10 tips for new assistant principals. You had reached out to me with some questions. And so we jumped on a Zoom and I walked you through what I considered to be 10 things to prepare for this role. And so recently we circled back around and we're like, hey, it's been a year. So what are some things you've learned? And so why don't you fill in the gaps on that intro? And then I'll jump into some questions with you because I would love for you to give some feedback, but give us an update on yourself and your family and fill in the gaps on anything I've said so far.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's amazing when you really look back on it, just how fast a year really goes by. And many lessons learned. Looking forward to discussing with you all those 10 lessons, plus many more, I'm sure, that will probably come to light as we have our discussion. But yes, sir, between back then and now, lots of things have changed. I entered my first year as an administrator, and a few weeks into it, I was also delegated the role of athletic director as well. And so tons of stories, great experiences. I had a chance to work with an amazing team, Matthew Scott, who is now the lead principal at Terry High School, just a great leader. And I'm really sad that I'm going, but an opportunity did present itself in Ocean Springs. And so I actually get a chance to close on my house this Wednesday and move my wife of 7 years along with my soon-to-be 4-year-old down to the beach. And so it's an exciting chapter. It's obviously a big change. It's going to be about 3 hours away from, any family. But within the past several months, found out that I actually do have several, former colleagues and friends down there, and even a family member. So at least we're not going in, not starting over completely, but we'll have, some friends and folks and even, the new admin team and myself, we've been able to, have many different Zoom conversations. And we had our admin team retreat just a few weeks ago. And so looking forward to working just with a great team, great teachers, and a great set of students. So big things are definitely underway.
Well, congratulations, DJ. And I'm so excited because, 1 year ago, you were a former 6th grade math teacher stepping into your first year as a school administrator. And one of the reasons that I enjoyed our conversation so much was when Principal Matters Podcast began, I was leaving the assistant principal role and stepping into the high school principal role. And so I was thinking so often about young leaders stepping into this work. What kinds of lessons would I want to share with them? And so you've been a listener who was a part of this community before you became a principal, and now you've been in this community with a year under your belt, and what a year to be a first year assistant principal during a pandemic and all the craziness that entailed. But in addition, you've been offered something that you believe is an even better fit for yourself and for your family. And so I wanted to give Principal Matters listeners an opportunity just to hear back from you, because as we corresponded at the end of this year, you sent me back what you felt like were 10 quality takeaways that you could share with other leaders who may be stepping into the assistant principal role for the first time. So I'm just going to hand you the mic, DJ, and just ask you to walk us through what are some of those things that you learned from this past year. And of course, you know me, I'll love to reflect with you on these things, but take us through, and I know these aren't in any particular order, but why don't you just walk us through one at a time, those 10 things you would tell someone who may be stepping into their first year role as an assistant principal.
Sure, absolutely. And let me first, begin just by saying, for anybody who's listening in, definitely refer back to episode 197, because especially this first year, Mr. Parker, I cannot tell you how many times I pulled that up. I mean, it's actually in the notes section of my phone. And so that advice has definitely, paid off and paid dividends, as I just journeyed through just this past year. And so obviously just with, any other school leader, any other educator, really, the past year was definitely, challenging, especially when you see it through the lenses of the COVID-19 pandemic, and very grateful that at least, hopefully the end of this pandemic is within sight. And so a lot of lessons to be learned. And so it's very hard just to, compact it just into a list of 10. But when I really sat down and just reflected on, my own unique experience, being a young assistant principal, also an athletic director, serving at Terry High School, these are some of the biggest takeaways that I've had this past year. Number one, be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, especially stepping into the leadership role for the first time. And I really feel like this advice could go for, not only principals, but also teachers as well. Know your leadership style, know your natural strengths, but also be aware of areas in which you can grow. I mean, I think that's the biggest, irony in our profession is that that nobody ever stops growing. Whether you're a student, you're a teacher, an assistant principal, all on up down to the folks at central office. Each and every one of us has room, to grow. And so have a strong self-awareness of those areas in which you can grow. But also stepping into, your leadership role, have a good idea of who you are. I'm a real big fan of psychology, different personality. Even during our admin leadership retreat that we had just a few weeks ago, we had the chance to take a personality test. And so going over the results, it's always has kind of the same effect of, wow, that's me. And so let me encourage anybody listening in just to be aware of your personality. There's an awesome website called 16personalities.com. It's based on the Myers-Briggs theory. And of course, not each and every one of the personalities isn't going to be a clear-cut definition of who you are, but takes about 12 minutes online. Check that quiz out, and it's going to give you an entire plethora of information, your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, even recommended jobs. I myself just happen to be an entertainer. And so it was really revealing to me, now again, is it 100%, an assessment of who you are as a human being? By no means, it's not. But it definitely is able just to kind of sit back and, self-evaluate and just see, okay, I struggle with this on this personality assessment. Is that really true? And you can actually reach out to, there's some, ask my wife, Kristen, hey, is this true about me? And she'll say, DJ, yeah, that's exactly you. And so have a good idea of who you are before you even step into the role. Number two, be visible and accessible. This is one thing my former superintendent said to me. If I ever come to your school and you're in your office, you better have a good reason for being in there. Now, being visible and accessible as a school leader, to your teachers, students, and support staff throughout the day, it may sound simple, but it is definitely essential. Meeting student discipline and other matters are obviously going to take your time, and so sometimes you have to sit down in your office to get caught up on email and things like that. But this is a lesson that I learned really quickly, especially going through the pandemic, and since it's really everybody's first time, this is just one of those things that nobody could draw back from previous experience to. I think you even referred to it in a previous episode as, decision fatigue. So, a lot of, coaches, a lot of teachers are, they're looking for you for help. And so being accessible, being visible is definitely a strong characteristic, that strong lesson that I learned in this past year. Number 3, know available resources that benefit students. Learn all you can about the resources that are available in the community and allocate those resources to your students' benefits. And so although I'm only a year into it, I am continuing to discover new resources that can be utilized to the benefit of your teachers and students. And this is just something that, came, as I transitioned from the classroom to the administrative role. It was just a naivete that I just never really thought about, just really how big the community is, even resources that student groups on campus can offer you, whether it be ROTC or even the football team or a specific club. There are so many resources that are available that as an administrator you can utilize for the rest of the student body's benefits. So reach out. Don't be afraid to even ask. And so definitely a big lesson learned that first year. Number 4, develop a routine and stick to it to the best of your ability. This was a huge one. And I know there's probably some principals that are listening in and say, like, hey, every day is different. And which obviously is true. And there are some days where, you have to throw your routine out the window. I mean, something might happen with a discipline case, or, perhaps you have a meeting that just is, kind of impromptu that you have to attend to. But by and large, at least have that routine in place. I myself, I use the Notes app on my iPhone is probably the app that gets the most usage time. I have it from the time I wake up, 5:30 a.m. workout from 5:30 to 6:30, and then the rest of the day, even my breakfast is planned. And to some people, they kind of, shudder at that idea. Even my personality as an entertainer, one of my weaknesses on that assessment was I'm somebody that does not like, structure and routine. So as I mentioned, that assessment's not completely accurate, and that's a case in point right there. I'm one that craves structure. I have to have routine, and that is just how I function. And so again, even though there's no such thing as a quote unquote normal day for any administrator, have a daily agenda. Have a set time where we talked about in episode 197 of scheduling all of those teacher evaluations on the front end. That is one thing I can't stress enough. Have those in place and stick to them, commit to them, communicate, hey, to your teachers, this is when I'm going to be in your classroom. This is what I'm looking for. Have that pre-conference, that post-conference. And so that way, that time is delegated. Emails, have a set time where you return all of them, returning phone calls from parents. That way, the more structured you are, the more prepared you are. And so, hey, in the event that, again, something comes up unexpected, you're still get back to, your to-do list and get everything that you need to do knocked out. So on that note of there's no such thing as a normal day, prepare for the unexpected. This is a big one, especially going through this pandemic. Really, we never knew what was going to happen next. You could go back to your schedule and your day could be going as normal as it possibly could go, and then you get a phone call, from a parent with that terrible news that pretty much all of us have heard. My son or daughter has been diagnosed positive with COVID, or maybe somebody in the household. And so, and then you're just going down. We know what to do, contact tracing. And so, I mean, prepare for the unexpected. In the book, Extreme Ownership, it's definitely a huge one that I would recommend to all of your listeners. Written by former Navy SEALs Jocko Willink and Rafe Babin. They introduce the 4 laws of combat and how that pertains to the business world, but it's easily adopted into the education world as well. And so one of those is just prioritize and execute. It's an important role. When things start feeling like it's getting too much to handle, the heat in the kitchen is getting too hot, sit back, prioritize the most urgent task, and execute the means of getting all of those tasks knocked out.
Wow. Well, DJ, let me jump in for just a moment, because those first 5 are just so incredibly powerful. And I'm only going to say a couple of things and then have you share the last 5 of those. But Principal Matters listeners, just to quickly summarize: number 1, be aware of your strengths and weaknesses. Number 2, be visible and accessible. Number 3, know available resources that benefit students. Number 4, develop a routine and stick to it to the best of your ability. And number 5, prepare for the unexpected. And I love that book recommendation, which I'm obviously going to put in the show notes, DJ, as well. So take us through those last 5, DJ, because these first 5, those are amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Just to continue, point number 6, share your leadership with others. At a high school, Terry High School had about 1,200, and Ocean Springs is over 1,900, almost 2,000 students. And so with the number of clubs, sporting events, extracurricular activities that are available, especially on the high school level, there's plenty of opportunities for others to step in and lead. And they really present themselves. Now, as an administrator, sometimes we do want to put on our Superman cape and try to do as much as possible, which, my first couple months, that was absolutely the case. But I came home one night, it was maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, and, my wife looked at me, she's like, you gotta do something. You gotta make a change, because it's a recipe for burnout when you're trying to simply just do it all. And so look for opportunities to delegate leadership to other coaches or teachers in your school, especially those that that are interested in pursuing a AP position, or maybe another leadership position, pursuing a national board certification, and see if they can, rise to the call. There's podcasts that I listen to by Craig Groeschel, just the Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast. Another one I would definitely recommend for any aspiring leader. But I think it's one of his first 2 episodes. He actually talks about the 6 different types of leaders, and the 2. Out of all 6, there were 2 positive ones. The 5 is, a healthy leader, in which we all obviously strive to be. But number 6, the best type of leader, in his opinion, is an empowering leader. And so look for ways just to empower leadership roles to the adults that serve our great kids. And so let's move on to number 7. Listen more than you speak. I believe we talked about this in episode 197, and this is one that I practiced ever since day one. Before I started, I really had, no idea just how many people I would be working with, whether you're in a close capacity to them or not, and how many numbers I was going to add to my contact list on my phone. When you factor in students, parents, teachers, counselors, support staff, upper level admin, central office personnel, I had the benefit of working with our transportation company, so all the personnel that worked for them, outside vendors, the custodial personnel, admins and athletic directors from other districts. You really come to realize just how big not only the operation at your school is, but really your entire network of other schools, in the metro area and beyond. And so one thing that, all of these great individuals, have in common is this, is they all have a story to tell. And so my advice would be to take a time to sincerely listen to each and every one of them. Every second, builds a strong foundation of positive relationships that will directly impact, your school and your students. So listen more than you speak. Number 8, ask for feedback from experienced admins, especially being the new guy. This was one that I used on a daily basis. I was lucky to, work with a team of veteran administrators. Even knew of some, coaches and teachers on staff that were former administrators as well. And so, if you're second guessing any decision that you're about to make, which obviously being again a first year guy, I did a lot. It is best to ask as many experienced administrators as you can. And so not only did I ask, those that were in my building, but I also, leaned on administrators from a neighboring district where I worked 6 years as a teacher. And so that's one thing, especially going through the pandemic. We have I guess, kind of a nature to think that we're in this fight alone, which is far from the truth. You're not. It is a team approach in everything that we do. It is team oriented. So don't be afraid to ask questions, to ask a lot of questions. I mean, the only unwise question is a question that you never ask. And so don't be afraid to ask, because it's better to know the answer than to go in blind and face a negative repercussion for a poor decision. And so that's point number 8. So point number 9, celebrate teacher and student success. This was huge, and I put this down primarily, just going through the pandemic. It almost seems like it's human nature to look at the negative in almost anything. I mean, if you look up any review for a restaurant that you're looking to check out, 9 times out of 10, that those reviews are going to be somebody who had a negative experience. I mean, go to yelp.com and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and so the positive reviews are the ones that, are kind of few and far between. And so through the pandemic, that was a big lesson that I learned, is that, despite the challenges, we at Terry High School, we really rose to the calling, and, we knew that we were in it together. And really as a school, we focused on finding ways to celebrate teacher and student success. And so, and really, there's no such thing as a too small of a celebration. I mean, whether it's an email, a Keurig K-cup coffee in a teacher's mailbox, using social media. Our PTO gave us some gift cards to a local restaurant towards the end of the year. And so just find ways to celebrate teacher and student success. Every single benchmark, we had large banners just posted up on the walls to celebrate, students that showed any type of growth whatsoever. And so I think just facilitating that, and integrating that into your school culture, especially during this past year, is a big lesson that I came away with. And so number 10, I saved the most important for last. Maintain a healthy life-work balance. This is a saying that I actually got from my dad, who is the chief capital officer for the Corps of Engineers in Vicksburg. And so a life-work balance, and yes, the order in that phrase is correct. As the school year goes by, it will be easy to become overwhelmed with just keeping up with the day-to-day responsibilities of the profession. I know we mentioned, during episode 197 of our interview last year, that really parallels this lesson, is just commit to positive habits now, whether that be working out, practicing an instrument, reading your Bible or praying, whatever you need to do to constantly recharge. And so it is extremely important, but I would also add this, don't forget those in your immediate family and circle of friends that have invested in you in your personal journey. A vacation every now and then, is nice. Don't get me wrong. I just came back from a week and a half up in Washington, D.C. and Pittsburgh. But where are you for most of the school year? So commit your evenings, weekends outside of work to those who matter the most. And so, again, the biggest lesson I've learned this year is just maintaining that healthy life-work balance. It does sound simple, but it is of the utmost importance for any administrator as you go about your journey.
Wow. Well, DJ Klein, let me just summarize those last 5 areas. Number 6 was share your leadership with others. 7, listen more than you speak. 8, ask for feedback from experienced administrators. 9, celebrate teacher and student success. And 10, maintain a healthy life-work balance. There's just so many things that I would love to add to that, DJ, but there's a couple of things I want to say. And for Principal Matters listeners, you guys know that I will include DJ's notes in the show notes because there's about 200 things you could tweet from that conversation that we just had together. So DJ, everything from maintaining leadership by empowering leaders to making sure that you understand the only unwise question is the one you didn't ask. But as I was listening to you talk, DJ, I was just thinking about a book that I just finished recently about teamwork by Tony Dungy. And it's a fantastic book. It was released in 2019, and I just listened to the audio version. And I've already shared it with a couple of friends because I thought this is such a great book. It's written as a fable, a fictional football team that Tony Dungy creates in order to step into that world. And by narrating that team's experience, he's able to talk about what works and what doesn't work. And it's brilliant because he's able to do it without criticizing real people that he knows and has worked with. But there's something that he talks about in that book when he's working with teams about understanding the soul of teamwork. And he uses that SOUL to talk about the S, selflessness, the O, ownership, the U, unity, and the L, larger purpose, understanding your larger purpose. And so as you were going through those 10, I just kept thinking how they all fit into those categories of understanding how important it is to work selflessly, to be quiet when you need to invest in those around you, to take ownership of your responsibilities and schedule those things in advance that are important and prioritize and execute accordingly, to work in unity with the people in your school and in your community. You name so many people that are a part of that team, everybody from transportation directors to cafeteria workers. And then the heart of leadership, which just comes out, DJ, in everything you say, which is serving kids, which is taking care of school communities, which is making your school a better place after you've left it than when you found it. And so not all school leaders are going to have the same experience that you had your first year. But as you look back and you think about, man, this is a lesson I'm going to take with me. I know those are 10 lessons that you're going to take with you. But if you're speaking to a leader who's looking at this work, maybe for the first time, like you did a year ago, what's something you would encourage them to take courage as they look forward?
I'll definitely, encourage them that, your first year as an AP, it's going to have its challenges. It is, but just know this: you're not alone. You are far from it, and so come into it just as a true servant. During our admin retreat for Ocean Springs, Mr. Braxton Stowe is going to be the new head principal there. He talked about servant leadership, and I really think that is going to be, essential for, not only first year APs, but for any administrator to know that yes, you are a leader, but you're also a servant first. And so maintain your identity, as that servant leader. Keep your eyes on the mission at hand of, helping each and every one of our kids, reach their personal, potential every single day. Keep the vision always in the back of your mind, and listen, be confident. You're going to have some days that you'll come home and, your head will be spinning around and you'll probably ask yourself, why in the world am I doing this? But just know that, the sun will always rise in the morning. And so new challenges will always come up, but that's exactly how you have to perceive them, is that they are challenges. You're going to learn from each and every situation that you encounter, whether it's a meeting with a parent or a meeting with a teacher or anybody. And so just be open to grow and just always keep that identity as a servant leader first.
Well, DJ Klein, it has been amazing to circle back with you 1 year later and to be able to unpack those lessons for leaders in your own journey, but also for those that may be stepping into this work. As you look forward to next year, I know you've got a lot of things you're excited about, but give us a glimpse of what you see in store at Oceanside as we celebrate your next part of your journey.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it with great anticipation. Again, we are moving down there. Hopefully either probably not July 4th, but the weekend after. And so we're just looking, my family and I, it's just a new town. So just to get, plugged into a great close-knit community, definitely looking for that. Professionally, I'll be working with a team of out of the 5 total administrators, there's going to be 3 of us rather that are brand new, and so getting to know them and just come together, all for our teachers and our students' benefit. I've had a chance to reach out to some of the teachers that are going to be in my department. I'll be overlooking the math department along with PE and business ed. And so looking forward to just getting to know them, developing, that foundation of just positive relationships, and especially as we, sail the waters back to normalcy. Definitely, looking forward to learning, a new culture and a great community and kids as a whole. And so I'm excited. I really am.
Well, you should be. And I understand that you're going to be transitioning in this role away from athletic director and being able to focus a little bit more on curriculum. So congratulations on a shift that I know is a passion area for you, especially since you were a math teacher, getting now a chance to focus on that area. I know that's going to be exciting for you too. Well, Principal Matters listeners, I just want to encourage you, if you missed episode 197 a year ago when DJ Klein and I talked about his anticipation of first year as assistant principal, check out that episode. And if this is your first year, then please share this out with others as well so that they can understand and learn from his experiences. And for those of you that may be finishing your first year, I'd love to hear from you as well. If you want to reach out to me with your story and your experience at my website at williamdparker.com, you can find my contact information there, or you can just email me directly at will@williamdparker.com. DJ, how can folks stay connected with you through social media or any other way that they can find you?
Absolutely. I do have a personal Instagram page. It's pretty much dedicated. Personally, I'm a watch nerd. That is my hobby. I just enjoy fitness, working out, and education. So I'm a pretty simple guy at the end of the day, but my Instagram is DJ Klein 1.
DJ Klein. And what was the other word?
Just the number 1. That's it.
Number 1. DJ Klein 1. If you want to find DJ at Instagram. Well, DJ Klein, thank you so much for taking time out of your summer, your vacation, following up with me, staying an active part of the Principal Matters community. And Principal Matters listeners, thanks for doing what matters, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Will. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Principal Matters, the School Leaders Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, would you take a moment and like, share, subscribe, or leave us a review? In fact, if you share it out with a friend, even more people can become a part of these conversations. Sign up for our newsletter at williamdparker.com for even more free resources. And don't forget to check out our website to learn more about our books, professional development offerings, Grow Academies, masterminds, executive coaching, and keynote presentations. Wow, let's keep learning together. Thank you for doing what matters.
Encore Friday.